morning, Charles.
Let's go. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Tatiana. I'm going to check your vital signs,
Very
okay?
good. Yeah.
Can you tell me your date of birth and last
November
name?
3rd, 1964, Charles J. Savola Jr.
Okay. Sweet. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Kind of got a hold of myself and started recognizing that it's time to get to work because I had to fight.
My turn.
Not fair, you were in the army! It comes on really fast, and you never really expect it, and I think that's what happened, was that he was, like 2 weeks before, he was fine, he was in Hawaii, we were having fun, and then we got back from spring break, and I remember we were at Leah's show. She was doing Guys and Dolls at the high school, and I went to like kiss him or something, and he's like, "Oh, I don't think you should like hug me or kiss me. I think I'm getting sick," because I guess he just thought that he had like a fever or something, and you never really think that what it's going to be is cancer.
You always remember a point in time when a doctor leans over you and says that he's 99% sure that you have cancer.
So we thought, well, he thought it was just bad flu. And while we were sitting in the emergency room and he was sleeping, I looked up a couple things online and I kind of knew it was pretty bad. And it wasn't until I came back to the emergency room that night that I found out. And it was horrible, absolutely horrible. And I think that as bad as it was, the harder part was knowing that I had to tell my 3 kids that their dad had leukemia.
My white blood cell count was way out of whack, so they had to get it down quickly. Or in a couple days, if I was untreated, my blood was so thick with cancerous white blood cells that I could have had a stroke, and probably would have in the next 2 or 3 days had I not been treated. I went 11 months when I was in remission, and I was all excited because I was coming up on my 1-year anniversary. Your 1-year anniversary is a big deal because your probability starts going down of relapse after you hit 1 year. I was feeling really good. I was really starting to, get my strength back and really kind of getting back into work and everything. I was able to do a lot more around the house. That weekend, if you remember, I was breaking up concrete with a sledgehammer, not because I really had to, but because I really wanted to. It was kind of a proof that things were getting better. And then I went in for a routine blood test that next week, and that's when I found out that my blood cell count was going bad again.
The thing that I most remember, like the feeling that I most remember, is just this sinking feeling in my stomach, like, oh my God, not again.
There was a point in time 2 days before Christmas where the symptoms of the BK virus forced me into the hospital. So 2 days before Christmas, I was admitted, and it was clear that I was going to spend 2 or 3 days in the hospital. So I spent Christmas 2013 in the hospital.
The way that we did Christmas was we FaceTimed him, and so we would open presents one by one. We were all set up in like a circle in the family room, and we would just pass the iPhone all around, one by one, opening gifts. And that was how we did Christmas. And it was just such we were trying to make it work. And I'm so glad that we were able to make it work, but it was just one of those impersonal things where it didn't exactly feel right. And I felt bad for Leah because it was her last Christmas before she left for college. And it was just not exactly the best thing in the world.
Fast and Furious.
This is what I need in my life. Collectible steel packaging for a limited time.
For a limited time.
Hold on a second, guys. Come on in. Hi. Good morning. Merry Christmas to you too.
So my family came that morning, bought a bunch of presents, and we opened up presents in my hospital room and had a little Christmas there. So that was a little bit weird, but you know what? You have to adapt when desperate times call for desperate measures. So we had a nice Christmas in the hospital and realized that you don't have to be home around a tree to have a nice time with your family around the holidays. I will tell you that the hospital staff, particularly the nurses, are the most important thing about being treated for cancer, or really any sickness for that matter. I come here so often that I've made friends with all the people who draw blood and everything, and Vince and I go way back now.
Yeah, I'm Look at me in the camera.
Hi, it's Sabrina. Say hi to Sabrina. That's Sabrina. Sabrina also is a big part of my life.
Not trying to show off.
So this is Phyllis. Phyllis is a nurse practitioner who is nurse practitioner? Nurse practitioner who is the best in the business with doing bone marrow biopsies and takes very good care of me. Mary, come on out, Mary. Mary's new to the team. Mary is a nurse practitioner also, and the nurse practitioner is a huge part of what goes on here, and they take very, very good care of us, people like me. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
One person that I dealt with, and I continue to deal with a lot, his name is John Hyland. He's a gentleman who went through the same type of leukemia that I had, acute myeloid leukemia. But he's been an inspiration to me because after he recovered, he was able to get himself back into physical shape again, and he's run marathons. Actually, I take that back. He's run triathlons, Ironman. You may have heard of the Ironman competition on the Big Island of Hawaii, where you run, you swim 2.5 miles, bike like 112 miles, and then you run a full-fledged 26.2 mile marathon. He did that, and when he did it in 2013, he dedicated it to me. And when he finished, when I saw him when he got back, he presented his medal for the Ironman to me because he had been supporting me all along, and he had been an inspiration to me. I look at him and I say, if he's a guy who had the same disease that I've had and is now running triathlons, I can get better one day. So I'm certainly, I'm not nearly strong enough yet to be able to do that, but I'm keeping my eye on him and what he's done, because one day, while I'm probably not going to run a triathlon, I do expect to get back to my pretty active life and horsing around with my kids and doing the things I like to do, riding bikes, hiking, and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm looking forward to all that as soon as I possibly can.
It's been a while since I've seen her, heard her voice, and it's weird though because I see her in photos. I see her in kind of everything, and I guess people don't realize that I kind of remember her. I may have been 6 years old about, and I didn't really spend the majority of my life with her. And those years were brighter, I guess.
Hi, Mommy. It's Gabriella's first vacation.
She's got so many people taking care of her.
Yes.
That's spoiling the girl. Did you show up for the Tweety hat?
Oh, there it is, the Tweety hat. We have to see it on her later.
Like at home, I have this little area where whenever I would go to Color Me Mine for a birthday party or some place like that, I would always paint an angel. So I have all these angels. I have photos of her. I have a photo that I gave to her. It was her birthday a year before Christmas, something like that. And I went to the store with my aunt, thinking of how proud I was with all the money I earned, and I bought her a pretty frame, and I put a picture of me when I was little with her in it. So I have that photo. The night I found out about her death, well, it started out in the morning. I remember perfectly. I was in my PJs. It was early in the morning, and my dad comes knocking on the door. And she's like, oh, come on, we gotta go. So he drags me out. Me and my sisters, we spend the day at the lake. And my aunt takes us for ice cream. We go tubing, and we were having the best day and having a lot of fun. And my sisters go to bed, and my parents sit me on the couch, and well, my dad and my aunt, and they sit me down, and they tell me. I remember it was hard. It was very quiet in the beginning, and it's that feeling that something's happening, but you don't know exactly what. I was kind of worried. Oh, did I do something wrong? But they tried to ease into it, and eventually they told me, and I didn't really know how to react to it. It was not something I dealt with before, so I was kind of quiet for a while, and my dad goes, "Are you okay?" And then I just start crying, and I just remember not going to bed at all that night. She died, it was the end of first grade, and after that I remember tons of food. Because people seem to be like, oh, if someone's having a problem, let me buy them 50,000 things of food. So it was weird because for the next few months, because I think it was April, May, about when she died, and for the last like month or 2 months of school, people seemed to be acting different. It was just like something was taken away, but no one really found their place anymore in the house, and just everything was different. My dream of being to work in film I believe started with her. Everyone's like, oh, you know what you want to do so early in life, and I think it was because of her, because I would spend hours upon hours watching movies that I shouldn't be watching as a 4 or 5-year-old, and actually understanding them. Like we used to watch Practical Magic every single week. It was our favorite movie, and I don't know how I understood the movie when I was so young. Or Ghost Whisperers was a big thing of ours. And these are like scary movies that 5-year-olds would cry over, but it's just something I spent time with her, and it's kind of influenced me today, and I love that.
You look good on video.
Will you please?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Not
Say
taking
it.
that in the living room.
Say it. This is our practice tape.
No.
So.
You can film the baby once the baby's out. I don't want you sticking that anywhere where it's not supposed to be. Sam. Did you see the movie 9 Months? Yes. That would be him. Oh, I looked at his cheeks. I don't think so. Will you please? I see the red lights on, and I know you're videotaping me. So turn it off now, Stanley. Stan.